During my rookie year, one of the Miami Dolphins coaches asked me where I found my agent because, according to my coach, he was the most impressive agent he had ever spoken with. Then he let me in on a secret when he said, agents have little influence on helping you make the team, but they can do a lot to hurt your chances. Agents don't make athletes stronger, faster, or smarter, and they don't make roster decisions. They're outsiders with a specific role who can do more harm than good if they don't know their role and perform it as if their client's career depends on it. Parents are like sports agents. They are the most effective when they tell their kids the truth about what they need to do to have fun and maximize their playing time. And parents hurt their kids' chances when they engage in behavior that coaches see as a nuisance or distraction. Coaches generally don't care about outsiders' views on how they can do a better job, and they universally hate the parents who create problems with other parents, players, coaches, referees, etc. If you're a parent who doesn't understand this, your relationship with the coaches will suffer and your kid will pay for your actions. The parents who follow the 10 tips I'm about to share can build great relationships with their kids' coaches and avoid unnecessary pain. I broke these 10 tips into 2 categories of 5 tips. The first category is about how to put your kids in a position to win, and the second is about how to avoid becoming a distraction. Now, before I get into the goods, would you mind doing me a huge favor? I need you to turn your phone to portrait mode and hit the subscribe button under the title. And if you're on a computer, just hit the subscribe button. Subscribing helps me continue to make great content, so thanks for your support. Okay, let's jump into the 5 ways you can put your kids in a position to win. Tip number 1, help them get those grades, baby. Many parents help their kids get good grades because they know how important it is that their kids take advantage of the education their hard-earned tax dollars are paying for. But good grades are also important for success in sports. Passing grades aren't a requirement for participation at the youth sports level, but they are when it comes to playing school-sanctioned sports. I can think of many unbelievably talented athletes who didn't take school seriously and became academically ineligible to play because they didn't take their job in the classroom seriously. It's an embarrassing and shameful experience for athletes to let themselves and their teammates down by failing in school. But parents can help their kids avoid this potential pitfall by prioritizing the development of intellectual skills right now. Helping kids get good grades is a time-consuming and never-ending project for some parents. But the current pain of teaching your kid to read, write, solve math problems, and think critically is nothing compared to the pain of watching your child sit the bench because the coaches can't trust him to pass his classes and just be available in critical games. Plus, kids who underperform in school frequently, but not always, grow up to underperform in life, which increases parents' chances of having to support grown kids for an indefinite period of time. I don't know about you, but I want my kids fully moved out when they're 18. I look forward to frequent visits when they're adults, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life seeing them in the kitchen every time I'm in the kitchen. Tip number 2, help them give their mind and body the rest they deserve. Athletes who fail to get enough rest guarantee themselves an impaired mind and a significantly increased risk of injury while playing sports. Parents who let their kids go to bed whenever they want and let them consume endless hours of screen-based content are asking for a world of hurt. TV, video games, social media, and other entertainment platforms are distracting kids at an increasing rate. US teens spend an average of 7 hours a day consuming entertainment media through screens, and tweens spend an average of around 5 hours a day. And that doesn't include time spent working on schoolwork. Research shows that excessive screen time leads to obesity, irregular sleep, behavioral problems, impaired academic performance, violence, and less time for play. These negative outcomes make being an athlete an uphill climb, so be a strong supporter of your young athlete's rest. Tip number 3, help them master the details with extra reps. Parents would be wise to find ways to help their kids get in extra reps if their kids love sports and want to play for a long time. This tip initially requires a reallocation of valuable free time, but it will result in a massive upside for your young athlete. There are endless ways to get in extra reps, but practicing free throws and dribbling skills are examples of ways to help young basketball players. Parents of football players could help their kids work on change of direction drills and hand fighting techniques. Baseball parents could go to the batting cages or work on fielding ground balls. There are plenty of ways to get in extra reps, but showing your kid the value of doing extra reps is where the real value lies. Help your kids understand that they will get ahead by doing things other kids aren't willing to do. Turn it into a game and find ways to keep track of their progress. Eventually, your kids will start looking for ways to get extra reps without your direction. Tip number 4, prioritize a healthy diet. Everyone knows athletes need strong muscles, durable bones, and energy to play sports at any level. But too many parents feed their kids junk food filled with simple carbs, sugars, and unhealthy fats. Those kids are out of shape, slow, and less mentally capable because they're not putting the right fuel in the tank daily. For those who can't afford it, there are many pre-made meal companies to choose from, but most people have to find a way to make healthy meals consistently. I suggest doing meal prepping twice a week and just keeping it simple. Breakfast is super easy. Eggs, steel-cut oats, and smoothies with whole fruits and no added sugar don't take much time to make and package for the week. Lunch and dinner take longer, but you can eat the same base proteins and mix up the sides. Personally, I would use ground beef and roasted chicken as my protein cornerstones, add vegetables like peas and potatoes, and be sure to include healthy whole grains like quinoa. But whatever your meal plan is, you're winning as long as you stay consistent with healthy meals that you and your family enjoy eating. Tip number 5, make sure they stay hydrated. Water is an essential nutrient for athletes. It's responsible for many vital functions in the body, including regulating temperature, transporting nutrients, and lubricating joints. Dehydration is one of the leading causes of fatigue and can negatively impact a young athlete's performance. When the body is dehydrated, it has to work harder to perform the same task. This means that even slightly dehydrated athletes will tire more quickly and be unable to perform at their highest level. So parents should make sure their kids drink plenty of water throughout the day, especially when they're active. And an easy way to measure hydration is by having your kid check the color of their urine. If it's dark yellow or brown, that's a sign of dehydration. Ideally, urine should be pale yellow or clear. There are hydration tracking devices on the market that will produce detailed hydration data, but I think those products are unnecessary for most kids. And with that said, I know some of you want the best data, so keep an eye out for a review of the best hydration maintenance solutions. Your kids' coaches will notice if you're helping your kids do the 5 things I outlined in part 1, and that will result in those coaches liking you more because you're a parent helping to make their job easier. Okay, it's almost time for the second part of the video where I'm going to give you 5 ways to avoid becoming a distraction that hurts your kid's chances as an athlete. But before I do that, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a like if the first part was helpful. Okay, let's jump into the second part. And I think this part is the most important, so I'm glad you stuck around. Tip number 1. Avoid making unsolicited suggestions. It's good if you're a sports parent with suggestions because it means you're present, paying attention, and caring about your kid's experience. The problem is the coach isn't interested in your suggestions any more than you are interested in his suggestions on how to do your job. The key is to find a balance between being supportive and being a distraction. The coach is the one who should be calling the shots, not the parents. Parents who attempt to coach from the bleachers won't win any popularity contests with coaches. And this type of disruptive behavior could negatively impact how the coach feels about your kid. So if you have any ideas on how the coach can do a better job, stop and think about how you can actually be helpful. Better yet, consider asking the coach how you can help in ways that don't involve offering unsolicited advice. Being kind creates all sorts of possibilities. And you never know, the coach could grow to appreciate your help and eventually ask for your advice on a thing or two. Tip number 2, avoid lobbying for more playing time. Most kids want as much playing time as possible, and parents are typically on the same page. But sometimes the coach doesn't see your kid's potential, or maybe he's playing your kid in the wrong position. And it's possible you believe the team might start winning more games if they put the ball in your kid's capable hands. Parents might be right about the coach making a mistake with their kid's playing time or their position, but parents don't understand how little their opinion matters to coaches. And I don't know about you, but I'm not interested in tipping the scales in my child's favor. I'm very persuasive, but I prefer that my child do all the persuading with his hard work on and off the field. So consider helping your child understand that his energy is better spent making sure he's ready when his number is called. I was overlooked at every level until the guy ahead of me got hurt or wasn't available. And I was always ready to perform so well that the coaches would look like idiots for returning me to the bench if the other guy became available. You'll do your child a huge favor if you adopt the mindset of always be ready rather than complain until you get what you want or quit. Tip number 3, dodge the comparison trap. Parents who constantly complain about their kids' lack of playing time are annoying to most coaches, but many of those parents take their annoying behavior towards something incredibly destructive. And I'm talking about comparison. Comparison destroys parents' relationships with coaches and establishes a terrible mindset for their kids. I'm sure many of you don't see the big deal, but consider this. If a parent is privately comparing their kids to others in the context of playing time, the comparison is a criticism of the coach's decision making. It's also a criticism of someone else's child. Your comments will eventually be relayed to the coach and the parent of the kid you're making comparisons about. Obviously, this is no way to win friends and influence people. But more importantly, you're teaching your kid to compare himself to others when you say, you should be starting. You're so much better than him. You probably think you're being supportive, but you're teaching your kid to look at the external rather than the internal. So as early as possible, you must explain that all we can do is control the controllable. And when it comes to getting what you want in sports, you can only control your attitude and how you prepare. Kids who use comparison to understand why they don't have what their teammates have are playing with self-esteem destroying fire without realizing it. Parents must lead in this area and avoid the comparison game at all costs. Tip number 4, don't be a loudmouth. You'll hear me talk a lot about the great things my dad did and how he avoided significant pitfalls while guiding me on my sports journey. But he struggled with controlling his emotions and keeping quiet when something on the field or court didn't go our way. My coaches didn't love my dad's behavior, and I'll discuss how that cost me in a future video. But for now, let's just say it's not great when your parent is known for getting reprimanded by coaches and officials for taunting opposing fans, coaches, and referees. But as bad as my dad was, most of us have seen so much worse. Parents who can't control their emotions and keep their mouths shut frequently are at the center of ugly shouting matches and fights that embarrass everyone involved. Sometimes these altercations result in people getting seriously hurt or killed. And most people watching this are unlikely to be the ones disrespectfully running their mouths, so this tip may seem like a waste of time. But I mention this issue because we need respectful parents to step in and de-escalate when another parent behaves like a donkey, especially if it's your spouse. It's the right thing to do, and your kids' coaches will love you for being a leader. Okay, before I get to the last tip, I need you to like this video and hit that subscribe button so I know the types of content you want to see more of. All right, for the final tip, you need to shut down the gossip. We can all agree that gossip is wrong and we shouldn't do it, but so many of us get caught up in sharing personal information about others that is none of our business. As a sports parent, you quickly realize that some parents form cliques based on who is perceived to have the most talented kids on the team. And I know the kids that play more tend to be closer friends and their parents follow suit. But there's also a fair amount of elitist behavior among some of these parents that tend to encourage gossip. If you're not careful, you could get caught up in ugly behavior simply because you want to fit in with the cool parents. But just like high school, the real cool parents avoid engaging in gossip and are quick to shut it down when invited to participate. And coaches will notice those parents who consistently do the right thing. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.